In this demonstration, I'm going to explain the MateSmart equipment hierarchy and show you how to configure it. Let's start off by looking at these three charts. The one in the upper left is going to be a general description of the MateSmart equipment hierarchy levels. At the top we're just going to call it top level, and then we have some other levels below that. Let me go ahead and start MateSmart up, and I'll show you how those labels correspond with the actual equipment hierarchy. So we're going to start off by using our demo database, and we'll be using that throughout our training at CMMS University. So I'm going to use the manufacturing demo. I click Use Demo Database, and I'll be presented with a login screen. And at the top of our hierarchy, as you'll see in a moment, we have what we're going to call plants, because we're going to be working with a manufacturing company. Our user ID is going to be admin, and our password will be 1234. This will log us in as an administrator. Administrators have full access to the entire program without limitation. So I'll click Login, and let me resize the screen here. Okay, so I'm going to start by going to the program configuration screen, and on the configuration tab down in this area we have our equipment hierarchy labels. Okay, so top level, level 2A, 3, level 2B, and we have them named plant, process, line, work area, location. Let's see how this corresponds to our chart. Okay, so we have the top level and the same general description names for those levels. Now let's look down here at this second chart. We're going to go ahead and label our hierarchy. At the top we're going to call it plant. Now MateSmart can hold up to 900 top levels in one database. Typically you're going to use one. In this case we're going to call it plant, and each plant will have its own separate data, although it will be in the same database. This gives managers a way to go in and compare different plants without changing the database connection. Okay, so under plant we have process. So processes are contained by the plant, and then lines, as we're calling it, are contained by the process. Now keep in mind, we could call these whatever you like. If this is a facility maintenance type situation, this might be building, this might be floor, and this might be room. So however you want to label this, it's very simple. You just change the names in the program configuration, and that cascades the new labels throughout the program. Okay, and then coming off of plant, we also have another leg coming out here. And this is why we call the MateSmart equipment hierarchy a three-dimensional hierarchy. Notice that work area location is not related to process, other than they derive from the same parents. Okay, what this gives you is great flexibility in grouping up your equipment. For example, in this case, we have geographical location on this side, and it contains this equipment, for example. And then we have on this side, process and line. This could be called a functional location. And this process contains a line, and that line can contain the same equipment. Actually, should have gone to this one. So what we've done here is we've been able to group the same equipment item by two different, completely separate methods that are totally unrelated to one another. Okay, so let's go back and look at the program for a moment, and that's how we have it set up here. So what does this look like in MateSmart? Let's go to the MateSmart equipment tree, and that's this button right here. And when it loads, we'll look down here at the bottom, we'll see what mode are we in for the tree. Well, right now we're in process mode. So this is displaying our processes. These are all the processes contained by the plant listed down here. Okay, so if we open up one of these process nodes, we'll see it contains 2 lines, and each line contains equipment. Okay, so let's switch to the work area location display. And if we go to that display, we'll see that the same equipment is also contained within the work area location. So, why do we want to do this? Well, this makes it very flexible for filtering and reporting purposes. Maybe you want to know how much parts and labor is being spent on work orders over the past 30 days in the bread oven / cooler work area. You could have that report within seconds just on that area and all the equipment in that area. Alternatively, maybe we just want to know about a particular line, the bread production line. Okay, this is also useful for finding equipment. So if you're looking for a piece of equipment, you can use these for filters to locate the equipment quickly and perhaps create a work order on that equipment or whatever the case may be. Okay, going back to our chart. So this is the hierarchy we've chosen. And down here, these are labels. Keep that in mind. These are simply labels for the levels in the hierarchy. And these levels, just think of them as groupings for the equipment, because that's really all they are. Okay, so this down here might be some actual data items contained within this hypothetical equipment hierarchy. So a data item might be GM Plant A, the top level. That's one of our plants. There could be a GM Plant B, and so on. Within GM Plant A, we have processes. There's no limit. You can have as many processes as you want. And we're just showing one here, assembly paint. Assembly paint process contains 2 lines, and again, no limits. You could have actually up to 2.1 billion lines in each process, so virtually no limit. And this particular process contains this etching line as primer line. Okay, so on the other side of the hierarchy, we have the paint shop. Now this is a physical building. This is a functional location on the right side. The left side, paint shop's a physical location, geographical. And the paint shop can contain the same equipment, Fanuc robot, as this process. So essentially that is your equipment hierarchy. Now to look at this in the program, we did look at it, the equipment tree view. Let's go to a configuration screen, the plant and work area location configuration screen. See, I have our plant here, and then over here we have our work area locations. If we change the plant to another plant, we see different work area locations that are owned by this plant. Same thing if we go to our process and line. That's our Sacramento processes. Here's our Tijuana processes. Sacramento lines, Tijuana lines. So that is your MaintSmart equipment hierarchy.